Good people. Episode 41 of Dome Podcast. Look, had a lot of discussion today and yesterday on my Twitter in regard to DMX, Tupac, and Biggie, and a few other things we'll touch on. Now, a lot of things came from. I haven't even seen the interview with Cam and Mace. I think we're asked about DMX and Pac, and I don't know. Maybe they said that they prefer Pac prefer DMX, and you know, and I think that got people riled up because obviously it's kind of hard when I guess saying anyone is better than Pac, Big, and a few other people. You know what I'm saying? But it made me say, comparing DMX and Tupac is really not some crazy thing that some people want to think. You know what I'm saying? In regards to this conversation, it's really not that crazy. You're talking about two great MCs, two passionate MCs, two MCs that always connected with their fans, two MCs who have, passionate fan bases, man. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't understand why is this a thing of oh my God, I can't believe that you're comparing DMX to Tupac. First, do you really know who DMX is? An MC who came from the gutter, an MC who background is as challenging as any MC who ever have rhymed and reached stardom. We know about Tupac growing up and his mom got on drugs after she was in the 70s fighting with the Panthers and everything, but 80s she got on drugs. Pac moved around a few times, Baltimore to out west and other places and things like that. Okay, that's true. We know about DMX childhood, getting on drugs at a young age, being left his grandmother's house, but put in children homes and on the streets, everything. Some might even say that DMX childhood was harder than Tupac childhood. You know what I'm saying? Because there was times Pac had his mom with him, even though she was struggling. There were times outside of DMX grandmother, he had nobody. You know what I'm saying? But the streets, but drugs, but shelters, all kind of things. Staying in buildings with no window glass on the windows type thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about the struggle. They both from a struggle, maybe slightly different, but both saw some poverty. But I think that DMX might have seen more poverty. So his music also shared that pain. You know what I'm saying? But as an MC, why are we saying that you can't compare these guys? DMX, after being in the underground for a while and then being put on a couple of songs with the Locks and everyone, comes out with It's Dark and Hell is Hot. 98. Took over the game. Came back that same year, Flesh of My Flesh. 2 multi-platinum albums in 1 year. One of the top 5 performers on stage ever in hip-hop history. Y'all saw Jay-Z on the barbershop talking about, when they first went out on tour, DMX went first one time. Dude come out, all the energy by himself. He rhyming hard, great performance, stage presence. By the end of the performance, he'll take his shirt off, the girls going crazy. Then he do a prayer, and the hardest of dudes, everybody in there literally crying. Okay, I saw DMX in 98 on stage, and I saw him again in like the mid-2000s. I've seen X a few times. I've seen everybody perform. I'm going on 49. I've seen everybody, all the great MCs perform, and X is right there at the top as one of the greatest ever. You guys saw some of his clips, you know what I'm saying? That Woodstock clip when it looked like he was in front of 200,000 people. Well, that's how he did. He commanded crowds. You guys are seeing tapes of Pac on stage. Pac was good on stage, but I would even say DMX was dope on stage. Go look at all Pac performances on stage. DMX is better on stage. Now, we're talking about, now, if you want to say Tupac is the greatest, that's fine. You can say that, but there are some people that believe DMX is better, or they like DMX better. They prefer DMX. You know what I'm saying? So, as an MC, they both are heartfelt at times. Because again, Pac did have a political side that you saw more on Tupac now. You saw that's the one with Trapped on there You know what I'm saying? A couple other tracks on there where, it was more revolutionary. Now, he had a song or two after that on each album. Some of the subject matter, he still tried to tinker with it, but he also rapped about other things as well. He didn't stick to it. Like I said earlier today, stop this revolutionary thing like he's on the same level with somebody like Chuck D and Public Enemy. He learned from Chuck D. You know what I'm saying? Chuck D, the X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, my Brand Newmans early on, all the Paris, all these guys, that's what they did on almost every song. Tupac wasn't revolutionary on every song. He had his hit 'em ups and all that too. You know what I'm saying? He had a whole bunch of bomb verses and against all odds. It was not no revolutionary stuff. So let's stop that acting like Tupac was Marcus Garvey. He did have some of that in him from his childhood, from his parents, from people his mom came up with, the Panthers. All that part of the story is true. And he did sprinkle that in a lot of his music. But he wasn't a straight revolutionary MC. But nevertheless, he was a heartfelt MC that people felt. DMX was a heartfelt person people felt. DMX, when you think about Slippin', is one of the deepest rap songs ever. Same way Dear Mama is one of the deepest rap songs ever. You know what I'm saying? DMX had vulnerable songs about his grandma, I miss you, and all that stuff like that. He had songs about the struggle. He had songs about the streets. Same way Pac would have Ambitions of a Rider, DMX would have Crime Story. You know what I'm saying? DMX had a run, as far as like It's Dark as Hell is Hot, Flesh of My Flesh. I think then there was X, and then like the Great Depression. He had 4 bangers back to back, and I want to say his first 5 albums were all #1 albums. You know what I'm saying? And again, he did 2 in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? He was the face of the Rough Rider movement. Same way Pop might have been the face of Thug Life's movement. You know what I'm saying? So there are some similarities there. People connected with both of these guys on a high level. You know what I'm saying? So it's not fair to kind of try to just dismiss DMX like, oh, he just can't be in the same breath as Tupac. That's not the case. Same way I said today on Twitter, some of y'all act like you can't compare other people to Biggie and Tupac, or that some people don't think other people are better than Biggie and Tupac. You know what I'm saying? I get it, the allure, I get the sensationalism in media and in hip hop and stuff like that. I understand. You know what I'm saying? There's a connection there with Biggie and Pop. And I'm throwing Biggie in some of this conversation too, because one died at 24, one died at 25. DMX lived to 50 years old. You see what I'm saying? So we saw DMX life, the good, the bad, the flaws, everything. With Pac and Big, they died so young and so tragic. X died in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? As far as like from health related situations. Pac and Big got killed. You know what I'm saying? So, and it was so shocking at the time. I was grown when they both died. It was so shocking at the time. Some people thought Pac wasn't even dead. People in barbershops, and I was in the barbershops back then. I was in the clubs back then. I was in the streets back then. All of that stuff hanging out. People thought Pac was in Cuba somewhere. People thought Pac wasn't really dead. The Machiavelli thing, the faking their own death. I mean, some people lived by that. They really didn't believe it. Even when that autopsy stuff slipped and leaked and then you saw this man dead, some people thought it was fake. You know what I'm saying? People thought, his mom was lying? When his mom told everyone she wanted to let her son go, she didn't want him to be in that state anymore in that hospital. So that connection there is tough. You know what I'm saying? It was a big loss with Biggie and Pop. We saw DMX get 50 years old. We saw all of that. So I think that connection feels different. But in terms of them, as far as MCs, both, like I said, I thought DMX and Pac both were super lyrical, you know what I'm saying, in their own right. Not the rapidy rap metaphors and all this kind of stuff like that, even though they both could do it, even though I posted before Tupac, Me Against the World album, If I Die Tonight, you know what I'm saying, like, that was still around me. And also got my mind made up with All Eyes on Me, that was still around me by Pac. You know what I'm saying? Pac was right there with Redman, Method Man, Dad's Corrupt. You know, he heard the Inspect the Deck verse that leak finally leaked. You know, Pop verses just as dope as most of theirs. So I mean, he could really rhyme, and we know what X could do. X on songs with Deluxe, with Jay-Z, and a bunch of great MCs, and X is right there. DMX was a hell of an MC. You know what I'm saying? Underrated lyrically. Same way I felt like Pop was underrated lyrically. You know what I'm saying? Some people think that lyricism is just a bunch of words sometimes, but sometimes words with meaning is some of the best type of lyricism to me. You know what I'm saying? So those are things that I was talking about. Then I said again, revisiting. People don't think no one can be better than Pac or Big or somebody can like DMX is some people's favorite rapper. I have a tweet that I'm gonna do tonight. I'm gonna find an old tweet I did probably 10 years ago. That's when I got on Twitter. I said in 1996, 1997, I thought Nas was better than Big and Pac. You know what I'm saying? I thought that back then. I was grown. I thought that back then. You know what I'm saying? Nas is my favorite MC, but I thought that Nas was better than Pac. I thought Nas was better than Big. And again, at the time, I thought Illmatic was a little better than Ready to Die. I thought Illmatic was better than all the Pac albums. I know that Pac later on, I mean, we knew that Pac liked Nas even back then, but all stuff came out over the last 10 years or whatever that Tupac was studying. It was written when he was doing Machiavelli. It's not a secret no more. The Outlaws and his people have talked about it now. Okay. Nas and Big influenced each other. Nas heard Ready to Die. He had to step it up in terms of having some balance so he can sell some records. Biggie won all the awards at the Source Awards. Nas came, it was written, took over New York in summer 96. And then Big came back with Life After Death. You could tell they was throwing shots at each other. Nas addressed that on Last Real Nigga Alive. Y'all know about my Biggie war, so you thought Kicking the Door was for, but that's my heart. You know what I'm saying? So all of that was going on, but I thought Nas was better than both of them. You guys have seen my top 5, top 10 greatest MCs more than once. Pac and Big are both in my top 10. I'm not mad if someone think either one of them is number one. But I've had Rakim number one for the last 20 years. I said recently with this 6-album run by Nas, I can see Nas now, for me, might be the GOAT. Now, if you think Jay-Z the GOAT, that's fine too. Jay-Z is the GOAT to a lot of people. Jay-Z in my top 5 forever. I don't see how you can move him. But he's the king of rap to me, Jay-Z is. Now, as far as like MCs, I had him in top 5. You know what I'm saying? You could put him at 1, like I just said. But, and with that being said, someone else tweeted to me today, yeah, you can't compare DMX to Tupac, and you also can't compare nobody to Biggie. Basically, Biggie the best rapper ever. Yeah. Nobody can rap better than Biggie, like rap better. Well, I thought Nas could rap better back then. Also listed Rakim, who was one of the people that helped change how people rap. I still post some of Rakim lyrics, but even Rakim in 1997, 98, and all that with the 18th Blood and then with the Master, that song "Waiting for the World to End" is as good as wordplay as any of these MCs. You know what I'm saying? Cool G Rap, Big Pun. I just said Nas and Jay-Z. So yeah, people do rap as good as Biggie. There are songs where when Jay-Z and Big did Brooklyn's Finest, I Love the Dough, and Young G's, people still debate who got who. Cheers. So yeah, people can rap as good as Big. Jay-Z just did an interview with Gail when Biggie heard the streets is watching. What Jay-Z said, Big said, hey man, the whole album gonna sound like that. You know what I'm saying? He saw the competition. He also said he didn't think he was gonna win Lyricist of the Year with Nas back in the Source Awards. So there people can rap like Biggie, just good as Biggie or better than Biggie. You know what I'm saying? That's all debatable. So he's not just the undisputed best rapper, even though he is one of the most gifted. And Life After Death, he did show that he could do everything on the mic. I will say that. He's one of the most complete MCs ever. I've said that on Twitter. You can fact check me. You can put that in and put my name. It'll come up. And so I'm a huge Biggie fan and all of that. But people can't rap as good as him or better. There are other people who can, Pharoah Monch, Black Thought, Mos Def. These guys can all rap at the highest level you can rap on. Lupe Fiasco. They can rap at the highest level. You know what I'm saying? So there are others. You know what I'm saying? So you can compare people to Big and Pac. And back to DMX, I don't see how you can't compare DMX to anyone who ever rapped either. You know what I'm saying? Again, heartfelt songs, hard joints, radio friendly, joints for the clubs and street. I mean, he's covered everything. Potent. The energy that DMX was a feature on your song, or the 24 Hours to Live, and and other joints. If X is on your song, you knew X was on your song, same way you knew like if Busta Rhymes was on your song, you know what I'm saying, or one of those kind of guys who come with that twist on your song, you know what I'm saying, or some Scarface on your song, you know what I mean. You knew that it was something special, and that's what DMX did. Man, he brought a certain energy to hip hop He came in 98 when, you know, again, I always say the shining suit thing is overblown in 1997 because 1997 was an awesome year in hip hop. But nevertheless, 98 is one of the best years of the 90s in hip hop. 98 might be top 3, 4 year of the decade. You know what I'm saying? It was flooded. And DMX and Jay-Z reigned supreme in 98. You could say it was the year of the X, you know what I'm saying, 98, because you know the Outkast got 5 mics for equipment. I don't get me wrong, they was killing the South and killing hip hop too. But as far as a single MC, outside of what Jay did with Hard Knock Life, Volume 2, he was 5 million there, but you know, X had 2 multi-platinums. So that was kind of his year overall. And like I said, him being the whole face of the Rough Rider movement, really. You know what I'm saying? Like he was the big dog. You know what I'm saying? So he carried that, man, and he carried this aura and this spirit, man, of just the struggle. You know, I like to hear back in the day when Irv Gotti talked about getting X, you know what I'm saying, going to pick him up from his old projects in Yonkers, and the whole story behind X, man, is very deep. I wrote an article, The Forgotten Child, a DMX article I wrote several years ago on the Dome, intothedome.com, and I posted sometime on Twitter. The Forgotten Child. You can plug that in and check it out, man. A lot of people seem to like that article. I did some research, talked about his life, man, because to me, he had a fascinating life, man. Very, very interesting, sad on some level, deep on some level. He had a spirituality about him the same way Pac did, going back to that situation, because, you know, you always felt some sincerity in Pac's voice, even when he was going out wilder. And, you know, Tupac now he showed some of that, the next joint he did, Strictly for My Niggas. But, you know, it all came together on Me Against the World, and he had that song, Lord Knows. And that was the deepness, the depth, having Lord Knows on the album and having Dear Mama, of course, on the album. Same way with DMX, his spirituality, he fought it a lot. He battled his spirituality, his faith a lot. You saw the roller coaster of DMX the same way you saw the roller coaster with Pac. You know what I'm saying? Those are legit comparisons, because you could debate that Tupac and DMX were the most passionate, heartfelt MCs ever. You could say they connected with fans better than any other MCs. So when people say how much they love Pac and Big and DMX and Nas and all these guys, there's different reasons why they love these type of guys. But I really feel like the reason why I love people like DMX and Pac is because it's a certain kind of passion and connection that you could almost cry listening to Dear Mama. You could almost cry watching Burns Got a Baby video. Same way you can almost cry when you watch Slipping video with DMX, or the video about his grandmother, because a lot of us have lost our grandmothers and we love our grandmothers. You know what I'm saying? That I Miss You, John I Believe with Faith Evans. So that's the part I'm saying you can compare with. Now, just potent albums. Yeah, now again, I don't want to be the one comparing the albums. You know, it's because I don't think that's fair. But just for the sake of conversation, It's Dark and Hell is Hot. It's obviously better than Tupac is Now, and it's better than Strictly for My Niggas. Would you debate Tupac? I mean, excuse me, not Tupac is Now. Would you debate It's Dark and Hell is Hot versus Me Against the World? Which album is better? You know, is Dark and Hell is Hot? How is it fair against Machiavelli? How would it fare against All Eyes on Me? Because I think that DMX's Dark and Hell is Hot can be compared to Pac's best 3 albums. I mean, you can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? That's a discussion. What about Flesh of My Flesh? Is Flesh of My Flesh better than Pac's first 2 albums? What about Then There Were X? What about the Great Depression? You know what I'm saying? How does their albums match up against each other? You know what I'm saying? Since we are doing a little bit of comparison right now, I think that's a legit conversation. I think I'm gonna post it on Twitter. Me Against the World versus Dark and Hell is Hot. You know, It's Dark and Hell is Hot versus Machiavelli. It's Dark and Hell is Hot versus All Eyes on Me. How do they match up? What about the Great Depression? You know what I'm saying? How does it match up against some of Pac albums? You know what I'm saying? Like, it might not be a runaway as you think it is. Now, I would give the albums a little edge to Pac, but not by much. You know what I'm saying? When I look back at X albums, he got his Darkest Hell Aside, Flesh of My Flesh, then there was X, The Great Depression, Grand Champ, Year of the Dog, Undisputed, Exodus. Now, Pac didn't have that many albums because he passed away, but Pac did have Tupac Was Now, Street for My Niggas, Me Against the World, All Eyes on Me, Machiavelli. That's 5. You know what I'm saying? The other ones he had passed away already. So if I use 5 of DMX's, I'm going to use It's Dark, Flesh of My Flesh, then there was X, The Great Depression, and Grand Champ. Now, I would lean towards Pac, but again, I do think It's Dark and Hell is Hot is just as good as any Tupac album. You know what I'm saying? If I took Tupac 20 best songs versus DMX 20 best songs, I think that could be interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, now again, Pac is going to have more variety in the subject matter because Pac was kind of all over the place. So yes, on my all-time list, I have Tupac higher than DMX, but I'm saying I still think it's a worthy conversation in terms of comparing them for different reasons. Not who necessarily the best, you can do that, but I still think that they have so many similarities, way more similarities than differences. You can compare them. You know, say I prefer Pac over DMX, but DMX is up there. DMX is in my top 20 MCs all the time now. You know what I'm saying? He'll be on the lower half. I think he's in my top 20. Pac is in my top 10. You know what I'm saying? As far as the most felt MC, I think you throw a corner. I mean, Pac is going to win that for most people, though, only because, like I said, his story is more grand. It's bigger. We had more time to digest it in terms of he died in 1996. So for the last, 20 some years, his life has been dissected. He's had movies about him, documentaries about him. So many YouTube creators have made, a lot of Tupac coverage. You know, say X just died a couple of years ago. He doesn't have a movie yet, a biopic yet, a biopic, yet. He doesn't have, his life is not like an obsession with his life because he lived 50 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, 50 years is young. I would think it's pretty young. I'm 48. You know what I'm saying? So I would think I got more time, but you never know because there's no such thing as time. Nothing is promised to us, but 50 years definitely is 25 more years than what Pac and Big basically had to live. You know what I'm saying? So his life is not looked at as almost missed opportunities because at 50, he probably wasn't going to have but so many more new albums. Of course, his family and people love him and fans miss him. But in terms of what else he would have done in life, maybe DMX would end up being a minister one day. Who knows? So with Pac and Big, they died so early, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's so much left on the table that we would never know about. You know what I'm saying? So those are the things that kind of take them over the top. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, moving past, DMX versus Pac, the biggest status. Like I said, I did an episode a few weeks ago saying, Biggie and Pac can't stay on top forever. You know what I'm saying? But I joke about that, but I'm a huge Biggie fan. You know what I'm saying? But again, like I said, I'm going to pull that tweet up. And when I said that I had Nas being better than Biggie and Pac in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to understand, everyone is not going to pick these two guys over everyone. You know what I'm saying? And I also want to make sure I don't allow DMX to be discredited on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to allow people to short DMX impact on hip hop, his career, what he did as a total MC. It cannot be slept on, cannot be disrespected. You know what I'm saying? The same way I respect what Big and Pac and other people did in hip hop, I respect DMX the same way. And in some realms, he's just as ill as anybody ever rap. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I didn't want to hold too long, man. What's your thoughts on that? I definitely want to jump back into the conversation about how you look at some of DMX albums versus Pac albums. I think that's interesting. But outside of that, man, happy Monday, man. Peace.